Pat MCafee calls Clark a white bee. Yes! Media outlets went into a frenzy after Pat McAfee's remarks calling Clark a white bitch. This is crazy. Well, soon after, McAfee personally apologizes for his tasteless remarks, and rightfully so. Stay tuned.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 45 minutes.
You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
You got knocked the fuck out.
What's happening? Here's the words of Pat McAfee. No matter the context, even if I were talking about race being a reason for some of the stuff happening, I have way too much respect for her and for women to put that into the universe. He continues, my intentions when saying it were complimentary, just like the entire segment, but a lot of folks are saying that it certainly wasn't complimentary at all. That's 100% on me, and for that, I apologize. Now, here's the hard truth. I think this was a sincere apology by Pat McAfee, and I actually believe that he intended for it to be a complimentary remark, because as I read the context in which he said it and some of the other points he made, I believe he was truthful and honest. I also believe that the reason Pat McAfee did such a quick and sincere apology is because ESPN gave him an ultimatum, because ESPN was receiving backlash and a lot of ridicule and criticism after Pat McAfee's comments. Now, the heated remarks came as Pat McAfee opened up his show. He does a daily show on ESPN, the Pat McAfee Show. McAfee expressed his frustrations with people saying the WNBA is surging in popularity because of the entire rookie class, which includes Clark, Cameron Brink, and Angel Reese in the forefront. So in Pat McAfee's eyes, he doesn't believe that anyone else should get any credit for this. You know, he believes that it's Caitlin Clark and Caitlin Clark only. He supports his claims by reminding everyone Caitlin Clark is dominating television ratings. She's dominating jersey sales. She's dominating attendance compared to everyone else. So in other words, why are we continuing to mention these other people? This is all the credit deserved should go to Caitlin Clark, her and her only. McAfee also attempted to dispel the claim that being white has helped Clark's fame elevate. He said this ain't got nothing to do with race. Pat says her race doesn't matter because other big name white players don't have the same impact on the game as Caitlin Clark does. And he named a few, such as Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Kelsey Plum, to name a few. So this is Pat McAfee trying to ride hard for Caitlin Clark, trying to ride so hard for her that he's saying nobody else deserves a bite. Only Caitlin Clark. She's the only one that deserves credit for the rise and the resurgence of the WNBA. I know what you was waiting for. This next statement by Pat McAfee is what sent the whole media outlets up in arms. Pat McAfee says, I would like the media people that continue to say this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. No, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar. So in other words, I think he used the term white bitch. He wanted to emphasize it's her. I don't think he meant it in a negative way, because here in the context in which he used it, it was complimentary, just like he said, or it should have been taken that way. I just don't think he used it in the best tasteful way that he could have possibly used that. He could have built that statement up a little better with using some different terms and been more impactful. So he goes on. Is there a chance that people just enjoy watching her play basketball because of how electrifying she is? What she did, what she stood for, how she went about going for what she went for? Maybe. So he's basically saying, listen, y'all creating all these side narratives, trying to give light to things that should stay dark. Maybe they just enjoy the artistry of this superstar being so dynamic and electric. Maybe that's all this is, that everybody is just having a difficult time with accepting because she's this white girl. But instead, he goes on, but instead we have to hear people say that we all like her because she's white and she's only popular because the rest of the rookie class is doing what they're doing. McAfee continues. Well, that's a bunch of BS, and we think the WNBA, more specifically their refs, need to stop trying to screw her over at every single turn. This is the first time I'm critiquing Pat McAfee for his remarks. I was riding with him all the way up to this point. Now he's critiquing the refs. I think he's trying to take a shot at him. He's trying to protect her. He's making an excuse. This is the first excuse that I deem from Pat McAfee, bringing the referees into it. You should have stopped while you were ahead because you had evidence to support all of the other things that you were seeing. Now comes the excuses, and this is where I get off board with you, because I don't agree with excuses, because I believe that excuses all lead to the same destination. No matter what road you make the excuse on, is leading you to the same destination: non-productivity. So I get off of Pat McAfee's bus right here when he bring the referees in, making an excuse for Caitlinclark. He goes on, what you have is somebody special, and we're lucky she's here in Indiana. I agree with that. Pat McAfee is known for some of his controversial remarks and for ruffling some feathers. However, I think his remarks here were innocent, and he truly was trying to support Caitlinclark, who he feels is being mistreated and misrepresented in the WNBA and in the media. Whether I agree or not, it comes with the territory, meaning whether I agree with what Pat McAfee is saying, whether I agree with what Angel Reese is saying, if I agree with what Kennedy Clark did to her, none of that is irrelevant. It comes down to some major principles. The first is this: for whom much is given, much is required. So the mere fact that Caitlinclark was the #1 pick, she's kind of recreating the game, shooting 3-pointers, comparing her to Steph Curry, different things like that. Going into the WNBA, she just got named a player of the month, different things. So she has a lot on her plate, right? And many people don't even understand all the weight that Caitlinclark is carrying because they never was in her situation, including you, Angel Reese. So before we go and point fingers and try to discredit people so fast and easily, why don't we try to empathize with them for a little bit? I mean, just imagine what it would be like if you were in her shoes or someone else's shoes and had to go through what they're going through. Because the hard truth is that empathy can change the world. Listen, I thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you. And never forget, you are important, you are necessary, and you are sufficient. Not to mention, you were born to be great. So go out and be great, my friend, and more importantly, be blessed.